Hello there, boys and girls, and welcome back to YouBored. Now, around about 6 months ago, I got into coffee. So probably for the previous year, I'd been drinking quite a bit of coffee with my mother, out and about at cafes and things like that, and I got to appreciate the difference between a good cafe coffee and a rubbish one. And there are a lot of rubbish ones out there, and let's get one thing clear. They charge the same. It's like $5 a cup or something like that. And there can be a big difference. I mean, the good ones, you walk away from a cafe and you're bouncing around, not necessarily from the caffeine, just from the fact that you've had just a cup of velvety unctuousness that just lifts one's spirits. Alternatively, you might have one that basically just tastes like slightly discoloured dishwater with a bit of bitterness, and it's just might have some bubbles on top or something like that. Terrible stuff. Point is the cost. So at roughly $5 a cup or something like that, if you extrapolate that out at like 5 cups a week over a year, you're looking at around about $1,200 or more. That's a lot of cashola, especially in this sort of time frame where we're trying to be a bit tighter with everything everywhere. So, I decided to look at an option to do something from home. Now, I couldn't get the old, $15,000 coffee machine through the missus. I know I'm exaggerating a bit, but the good ones are very expensive. And the cheap ones, well, they're cheap for a reason. Cheap for a reason. So, I had to find another alternative that wasn't overly expensive, but allowed me to get a very good cup. And I found an option. After looking through loads of YouTube vids and things like that, I finally found the option, which is the AeroPress. There might be a little picture over here. Great little gizmo. Not going to give you full espresso, level stuff, but it's going to get pretty darn close. For me, better than French press, better than drip, all those sort of options. It's good. That's what we've got sitting here right now. So, I solved the issue with the coffee, and of course you can, I grind my own beans, all that type of stuff. I might get into that. I'm not a coffee expert. I just like it. I will actually mention, I won't mention this one because I can't actually remember who it is, but in another video that I'll do, I will mention the guy who I got a lot of inspiration from because he is excellent. And I might even post a link to some of his stuff below because it's worthwhile checking his stuff out. If you want to learn about coffee, he the man. He the man. All right. So, we've ground beans, we've made the cup and everything else. The big problem is milk. Now, I am a big fan of a latte, a cappuccino. I like my foamy goodness. Now, the issue is, if you just add milk by itself, you don't get the same, reaction, you don't get the same stuff. So, how do I get the steamed awesomeness that you get at really good cafes at home? Unfortunately, I only found 2 options for steam. One of them was expensive coffee machine. Now, you could buy a cheapo coffee machine, but again, the steamers aren't that good either. So, that's out of the picture, no coffee machine. The other option is a stovetop steamer, like this one here. Now, for me, they're kind of like bombs waiting to happen. I don't like the idea of them. And they're not overly, they're sort of cheap and not cheap. They're, just over $100 or $150 or something like that. And they look pretty cool. I don't mind them. They're a bit, bit suave, but they're not for me. They're not what I was looking for. So the other options out there, and they're few and far between. So most people go for something like this, which is just a little milk foamer. It's good because it has your little whiskey thing in here, which is quite small, so it creates micro bubbles. And of course it heats as well, which is a big thing because you can get those little whisks and they whisk, and they provide micro bubbles, but they don't heat the milk at the same time. So only getting sort of 1 portion out of the 3 that you need to get. This one's getting 2 out of 3. And I got this sucker I didn't get this sucker. Wouldn't buy something like this. This is the Missos. She got it from like Kmart or Target, one of those places. They sell for about $30 or $40, give or take. If you've got a cheap and nasty place nearby, they'll probably stock them. Nothing against Kmart and Target and places like that. You're not nasty, you're just cheap. All right. So that's not an option for me. The problem is, it doesn't create the velvetyness that you're looking for. It doesn't stretch the milk proteins, and that is what we're looking for, stretching the milk proteins. So can't do that, can't do the little whiskey thing. A lot of people also use French presses. So they modify them a bit and they just crank it out, and they do that. I tried that as well. Again, didn't really get it. You gotta heat the milk first and then it loses a lot of its heat in the process. Not the best. So again, not an option. So I had to go back to steam. It's the only way to stretch the proteins of milk to get that velvetyness, that really smooth texture that you're looking for in a latte or a Americano or, you know, cappuccino, whatever you're looking for. So steam. Had to find something with steam. Introducing my steam option. Exit stage left. Enter stage left. Oh, it's a steam cleaner. No way. I got this for like 30 bucks from Kmart, I think it was. Now, a little disclaimer warning. Make sure you check up that the plastic used in these things is not toxic. So not all plastics are plastic, if you catch my drift. They're not safe to, you know, use in a food atmosphere. They're safe to clean, not necessarily to stick in your gob. Not that you'd stick this in your gob, you'd burn yourself. Don't put this in your mouth. Don't put this in your mouth. Bad times. Bad times. Anyway, I checked mine up. Didn't seem to have a problem, so good to go. Haven't gotten sick, so I'm fine. Anyway, this thing's great. It's great. There are some drawbacks, which I'll talk about. And while I'm talking, I'm just going to turn it on just to show you how quickly it is. So it's just got your little, you know, red and green light down there, which you will see in a second. I've just got to be careful of the hose. So, simple plug and play, water in the top. Make sure you use filtered water or spring water or something like that. No bubbly, of course. Don't use tap water. It's just not going to taste as good. Okay. All right. So as you see, green light is on. I think. Yep. No, red light's on. So red light means no. Green light means go. And you can hear it. Yeah. All right. So the positives to this is you get the steam effect because it's a steamer. So it's gonna get that protein stretchness. I know, right? Smart stuff. Smart stuff. The downside is probably the spout. It's just not the same as a steam wand. So steam wands are quite long and thin, so you can get them into the vessel quite well, so you can direct things a bit. So it takes a little bit of technique to get this the same as a steam wand. So a little bit of a downside, but you know, you can work around it, and you know, you're making it at home, you've got to make a little bit of a sacrifice for a $30 purchase, don't you? Yes. Other than that, there's not much. It's very easy to clean. I mean, afterwards, after you've steamed the milk, you've got to sit it for a little bit. So all you do is basically just stick it under the tap and turn it off, get the steam out. It's all good, clean it off. You're set for the next time. Very, very easy. Cool it down. You don't want to leave the steam in there. It is a pressure vessel. But the other good thing is it's got an inbuilt thermostat, so it's not going to overheat. It's not going to explode or anything like that. So you can leave it on and it will stop when it's reached temperature. Which, what are we looking? No green light yet. We're getting there. I'm sure we're getting there. Yeah, so very easy stuff. Does not take very long. You can put it on when you start boiling your water to make your coffee, and then you're good to go by the time you're set. Okay, are we right? Green light. Now, not all milks are milk. I know it doesn't make sense. I don't drink milk. I drink alternatives. So I have almond milk here. This is Milk Lab. No advertising puns or anything like that intended. This is some really good stuff. So there are a lot of milks out there, ones that even have barista written on them and things like that. And a lot of them are absolute rubbish. They do not do a good job. This one is the balls. Really, really good. And it's taken me a bit of trial and error to find this one. So this is an Aussie one. So if you're overseas, or I'm not sure where it's from or whatever else, try and find something equivalent. There are some really good ones out there. And as I said, there are some absolute junk ones that are just like, terrible. Wolf in sheep's clothing sort of stuff. All right, now, I've got a temperature gauge here. Unfortunately, the temperature gauge does not fit in the jug with that. As I was indicating, this is a little bit of a downside. It came with some other nozzles, but nothing quite what I needed. So I'm gonna have to sort of eyeball things. And I've done a few of these, so I'm not too bad. Now, my technique is not perfect. So this is also gonna be a one-shoot wonder because I don't have enough milk to do more than one. All right, here we go. So we've got milk in there. You don't want to do too much because it will foam up a bit. We're good to go. Now, before you start, you want to shoot off a bit of steam just to make sure there's no water in the spout. Well, there we go. That's good for camera, isn't it? Okay, so we're fine. Now, it's kind of an angle thing. You don't want to put it in straight. Oh, almost dropped that. And you want to be careful not to drop your coffee over your really nice island worktop. All right, so you want to hold it like this on an angle. I know this is a little bit weird, but it makes sense. And then you do hold you down your safety catch, another quick shoot, and in. And away we go, full bore. You don't want to just half-ass it, just straight in. On an angle so you get a bit of turn and churn. You want to get it just under the surface so you get the bubbles go back into the milk and create that velvetiness that you're looking for. The really micro bubbles and the heat, of course. And of course, as we said, we're stretching proteins. Just a side note, I don't think anybody else has ever done this. I don't think anyone's come up with this concept before. I haven't seen anything on YouTube. So if you see anybody do this afterwards, I was the first. #1 with a bullet. #1. All right, we're almost there. You don't want to overheat milk, but having said that, you don't really want to underheat it either. You want to make sure you get the desired result. We're going pretty good. All right, let's see how we're going. Woo! You can see it. You can see it. It's already steaming up again. Just put that across there. Let's see if you can see that a little bit there. Yeah, it's getting steamed up. You can see the bubbles and stuff. All right, let's put the thermometer in. Now we're looking for just under 60 degrees if we can. What are we doing? Around here, around the wrong way. We are a bit cold. We're only at 45. Well, it's almost at 50. That's pretty close. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to bother putting it back in. Anywhere between 50 and 60 and you're kind of good to go. All right, so pre-made coffee. This is done, so I'm going to put this off to the side quickly. Might reintroduce it later when we're talking. Now, you meant to set it for a while, but we are on live. Well, I'm recording live, you're not watching it live. So you want to give it a little bit of a bang, just to get rid of some of the bigger bubbles. Same as normal, give it a little bit of a swish, and then in we go. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Boom. Nice, hey. Very nice. Now, I must admit I put a fair bit of milk in there. I like a fair bit of milk, and it is a big cup. I usually have a smaller cup, but for the purposes of this, I used a bigger one so that you can see what can occur. Look at that. Fantastic. Cafe level stuff. Almost. Certainly better than the junk cafe ones anyway. And how does it taste? It's probably going to be quite hot. We'll see how we go. It's nice. It's very nice. I like it very much. So as I said, my technique is not perfect. You can get better. I can't do latte art, but I believe that if I worked on it enough, I probably could. So that's it. That is my solution. That is my milk frothing extravaganza. I think it's going to revolutionize home brewing, as in coffee, not beer. I wouldn't do that with beer. It wouldn't turn out very well. Bad, very bad. And don't put it in your mouth, as I said. So, go ahead and get one. I mean, if you go down the AeroPress thing that I've done, if you've got your own coffee machine, then obviously don't worry. But if you've got a drip coffee or a French press or something like that, and you're really hankering for a good latte, that's the thing. That's the way to go. Bring it back. Bring it back in. The hero of the day. Yeah. Good stuff. Genius right here. See you all next time. You bored?